Welcome to the Apex Hour session. So before going to start the session, first of all, I would like to thank Apex Hours and Amit sir for giving me the opportunity to deliver a session uh, on Apex Hours. So in the today's session, we are going to talk about the SFDX CLI. Okay, so like SFDX CLI commands are very useful uh, for the developers, and how Salesforce developers and Salesforce admins can kickstart their Salesforce development process with the help of CLI commands. So we are going to talk about some of the theoretical concepts, as well as we are going to see the some of the demos as well related to the SFDX CLI commands, like how developers can take the benefits from the SFDX CLI command and how they can improve their Salesforce development process with the SFDX. Okay, so yeah, welcome to the today's session. So before going to start the today's session, I will just like to give a brief introduction about myself. So my name is Aniket Kole. I'm currently associated with a Proficient as a lead technical consultant. Okay. Also, I'm a Salesforce community group leader for Amravati. Also, I'm a founder of a SFDC blogger. So I will just give you an idea about what is SFDC blogger. So SFDC blogger is an open community blogging platform where anyone can share their experiences and knowledge across the community. Okay. Also, I'm a member of a Central India Trailblazer community groups. It's a joint initiative of a multiple Salesforce developer groups. Okay, and also I'm a 5x Salesforce certified professional. And in terms of my total IT industry experience, I have total 8 years of IT industry experience. And from last 6+ years, I'm working on the Salesforce platform. So before Salesforce career, I started my career on the Java related technologies like Spring and Hibernate. So this is a little introduction about myself. So now let's jump to the our agenda and session, today's session agenda. So at the beginning slide, I already stated that like we are going to talk about in today's session about the SFDX CLI. Okay, so SFDX is nothing but a Salesforce developer experiences. It is like a most powerful tool which is introduced by the Salesforce a couple of years ago, and now particularly most of the Salesforce developers are using the SFDX and also Salesforce CLI with the VS Code. Okay, with the code editor. So we are going to talk about the same thing, like how particularly you can take the benefits and you can kickstart the process with the SFDX CLI commands. Okay, and how you can improve your Salesforce development process with the SFDX CLI. So in the today's session agenda, we are going to talk about like little introduction about the SFDX CLI. Also benefits of SFDX CLI. SFDX CLI for development, like how you can particularly take the benefit for the development process. Also, we are going to talk about the some of the common use cases are there. So I'm going to show you the some of the common use cases that we can particularly build with the SFDX CLI. Also, and the main agenda of today's session is like how you like need to give a practical approach of the SFDX CLI. Okay, so how you can particularly run the commands, the understanding on deep concepts of how SFDX command runs, so that we are going to talk about as well. Okay, so this is about the today's session agenda. So I will just give you an idea what we are going to particularly talk about in the demo session. So let me just try to open the notepad window. So in terms of the demos part particularly, okay, so I will just give you about the CLI commands. Okay, like how particularly you can run the CLI command. So I'm going to present the some of the commands and there we can say how the commands will example. With the some examples I will show you. Also like working with metadata. Okay, how CLI commands are working with metadata, working with Salesforce data. Okay, and the fourth one is that CLI with VS Code. Okay, because now we are using the VS Code as a code editor, so we are going to talk about some of the 3 to 4 demos in today's session. Okay. So let's back to the presentation. So now let's talk about the Salesforce CLI and SFDX. So Salesforce CLI is a command line interface tool which is used to interact with your Salesforce org. As a Salesforce developer, we are particularly supposed to work on the multiple sandboxes, and multiple sandboxes, that is nothing but our multiple orgs, basically. Day org, QA org, UAT org, whatever are there, right? These are the, we can say, sandboxes we need to work. So basically, a Salesforce CLI gives the more powerful features to the Salesforce developers to interact with your Salesforce org and manage the metadata and data. Metadata means whatever you are creating for your applications, custom objects, custom fields, and all these configurations are there. So that is the metadata, and also the data in terms of the your records. Okay, so basically Salesforce CLI gives that functionality for the Salesforce developers. Like with the help of Salesforce CLI, you can create and manage the orgs. You can create a metadata, as I said, like Apex classes, Lightning components are there. So whatever the metadatas are, like you can create a metadata with the Salesforce CLI. In terms of the data migration process, so if you want to particularly export and import a data from your Salesforce org, so Salesforce CLI will use that functionality to import and export your data as well. Create and install the packages, like the unlock packages are there, maybe manage packages are there, right? So Salesforce CLI gives the functionality to create packages as well. Okay. Also run Apex tests. So let's say, for example, if you want to run the single test class, if you want to run all test classes to take the, we can say, to validate your code and validate your test code coverage. So particularly you can run the Apex test. And the main important part of the Salesforce CLI is that the build automation. Okay, so build automation means, let's say, for example, if you want to particularly create a scratch org and you want to build a feature, you need to particularly import and export data into and from the from non-scratch org to scratch org, and then build a feature, deploy that things to the non-scratch org or dev org, right? And then validate your test code coverage and everything, right? So whatever the particularly the process you are following for the development process, right? So you can particularly build automations with the Salesforce CLI. Okay, so this is about the Salesforce CLI. The main important part is that Salesforce CLI and SFDX are different, basically. SFDX basically one philosophy or approach for the source-driven development. Okay, and Salesforce CLI is like an we can say command line interface too. So Salesforce CLI comes with the particular extensions and it is particularly compatible with the base code that you are currently using in the code builder. Okay. But SFDX is nothing but we can say philosophy or approach, and it is based on source-driven deployment. I will just give you an example. Okay, so it's like a scratch-off based development. So let me give you the idea about scratch-off. So scratch-off is nothing but we can say a temporary org where you can particularly build your features, you can validate your test, let's say code and everything. And so basically scratch-off is a temporary org. Okay. And once your feature was built, you can particularly deploy the changes to the dev org or your non-scratch org from scratch org to the non-scratch org, and then you can particularly delete the scratch org. Okay, so basically a Salesforce DX SFDX called as is the Salesforce products under the app cloud that allow users to develop and manage the Salesforce application. And in under the SFDX there are particularly multiple command line tools, commands are available that you can particularly use for your development process. Okay, So this is a basically a brief idea about Salesforce CLI and SFDX. Okay, let's jump to the next. What are the now main important point is that benefits of SFDX CLI. Okay, benefits of SFDX CLI. So you can particularly develop the efficient development workflow. You can also build a version control integration, like if you want to build a version control integrations for your code repository management, right? It's like SVN or Git, GitLab, right? So these are the, we can say. So if you want to maintain a version control for your code repository, so you can do that as well with the SFDX CLI. Also, like in the DevOps strategy and process, you can also build a CI and CD process as well, continuous integration and continuous deployment. Scriptable and repeatable operations you can particularly build, right? You can build a script as well to for the common steps, and you can run that common steps whenever you need it in your development process. Sandboxes managements are there. Let's say if you are working on the multiple sandboxes in your workflow, so you can also do that. Data management activities, like migration activities are there, import and export data, scratch orgs, metadata retrieval and deployment, right? So basically, these are the, we can say, common benefits are there under the SFDX CLI. So SFDX CLI is always most powerful tool for the Salesforce developers. Okay, so these are the some of the important highlights for the benefits of SFDX CLI. Now let's jump to the SFDX CLI for development. So here are some of the SFDX CLI commands that you can particularly use and kickstart your Salesforce development process. So I just listed down the some minimum commands basically. So these are the, if you see in the slides, these are the, we can say, the SFDX CLI commands that developer can use for the Salesforce development process. Okay. So there are multiple commands as well. I will give you the idea on the development part as well. Okay, so authorize an org, you can authorize on org with your local environment. You can create a Salesforce DX project as well. You can create Apex classes. You can retrieve the metadata from the Salesforce org. You can push the changes, whatever your local in your local system, whatever changes you have done, you can particularly push that changes into the org as well. You can run Apex test classes, create and deploy scratch org. Okay, list or data import export. So these are the, we can say, some of the CLI commands that is mainly used to for the Salesforce development process. Okay. So some of the common use cases I already told you that particularly the main important part is that with the help of the SFDX CLI and you can also build automation as well, right? Creating a scratch or let's say you are like working on the agile methodology process, and in the agile methodology process you have assigned some of the user stories. Now you have to build one feature, right, for your application, for your Salesforce platform application. So you can create a scratch org. You can particularly add your required data into that scratch org. Okay, and also you can particularly push and pull the metadata from the your non-scratch org, and you can particularly add a install in your scratch org, and then you can particularly build your features. Then after building the features, you can validate, run your tasks. So as I said, like you can particularly build one process automation, okay, with the help of SFDX CLI. And so these are the, we can say, common use cases are there, like creating, pushing and pulling metadata, testing the code and validating the code. So these are the, we can say, common use cases under the SFDX CLI. Okay. Yeah, so this is about this one. Now let's jump to the actual part. As I already said at the starting of the session, we are going to talk about more in practically, like how particularly SFDX CLI commands work. Okay, so I will give you the demo as well. So we will understand how the SFDX CLI commands works in the background. Okay, also we'll see. So as I said, let me just go back to the main demo slide. So as I said earlier, like we are going to talk about some of the CLI commands, working with metadata, then working with Salesforce data, and CLI with VS Code. Okay. These are the, we can say, demos we are going to talk about. So if you want to particularly install the SFDX CLI, okay, so obviously you need to download the SFDX CLI basically. So you can just go to the Google and just enter download SFDX CLI. So the first link you will get that related to the Salesforce CLI. Okay, you can particularly visit that particular website, and based on the system, like if you're using Mac OS, Windows OS, or Linux OS, right? So particularly you can download that particular Salesforce CLI, and there are some simple steps you need to follow basically. Okay, to and install the Salesforce CLI into your system. So also, like particularly, I have created the some of the steps documentation as well. So along with the session recording, I will share this documentation. So I have mentioned the step-by-step process to install the particularly how to set up SFDX environment, right? To download a 32-bit 64-bit based on your system. So I'm using the Windows system. That's why I did it. You can particularly follow the website for Mac OS and Linux as well. So these are the, we can say, step-by-step documentation to install the SFDX CLI and verify the SFDX install in your machine. Also, particularly after SFDX CLI installation, you need to set up a VS Code environment as well. Because as I said, I'm going to show you the CLI with VS Code as well. So you have to set up the VS Code environment. So this is also step-by-step documentation available. And also like Salesforce DX with the VS Code, right? Salesforce CLI. So Salesforce VS Code itself providing the Salesforce extension packs which come up with the Salesforce DX feature, right? So along with the session recording, I will share this particular documentation with you as well to follow the installation process of the SFDX CLI and the setup of SFDX with VS Code. Okay. Yeah. So this is about this one. Now, before jumping to the particularly actual demo, I would like to give you the one update for the SFDX. Okay. So previously, if you see, I'm showing you the Salesforce CLI command reference documentation. Okay, from the Salesforce documentation side. So actually, if you are particularly aware about that, SFDX style related commands are going to be no longer, okay, from the April 2023. So if you see, I'm showing you the one document here. This is the warning which is coming here. So as of April 2023, Salesforce are no longer to maintain this section for the command reference. Okay, so this is the official command reference CLI documentation. You have to refer the SF style commands basically. Okay, now we are not going to use the SFDX style commands. We are going to use SF style commands. So there are the, we can say, the changes was happening in the SFDX side. Okay, so you have to follow particularly, and so SFDX style command continue to work same as before. There are not going to be any changes are there, or any script that use the commands won't break. Okay, so Salesforce has recommended to you start using the equivalent like SF style command. So this is the kind of documentations are there. If you just go to the SF style, so there are now in the command reference documentation, you will see the two sections. One is the SF style and one is the SFDX style. So now you are going to talk about SF style basically. Okay. So whatever the required commands are there, so that all required command documentations is available under this. Okay. So previously, before like SF style commands, we supposed to use the SFDX style commands. Okay. So this is the major updates that I'm sharing with you. Okay. Basically. So now let's jump. So I have already installed the particularly SFDX in my system. So I will directly jump to the command prompt. Okay. So I'm going to show you the first demo that is related to the CLI commands. Okay. So for the confirmation, like SFDX is installed in your machine, so you can just type SFDX. Okay, just type SFDX and click enter. Okay, you will see the particular the SFDX CLI is installed in your machine or not. Okay, also you will see the what is the current version is installed in your machine. Okay, so if there is a, we can say, update or happens, right? So you can particularly update the SFDX CLI as well with the update command. Okay, and we can say these are the, we can say, total description of the particularly the topics which is come under the and commands under the SFDX. Okay, and also you can particularly specify, you can specifically check the version as well. You can just type SFDX -v dash v or -v. You can just enter anything and just click enter. You will see the latest version of okay, this particular will give the current version which is installed in your machine. Okay, -v. I'm just going to show you about C. I just show you that like SFDX style and SF style. So both will work now. Okay, so I already told you that like SFDX commands are continue to work as same as before. Okay, there is no change. So I showed you that either you can use SF or either you can use SFDX. Okay, so there are we can say styling of the command typing and all that got changed actually. So that's why SF style commands are now more easy to use. Okay, I will show you as well. So there are multiple commands are available particularly under the SFDX command basically. Okay, I'm going to talk about that one as well. So let me clear the screen now. So basically, if you want to see particularly, so there are multiple commands are available under the SFDX. Okay, for the your development process. So if you just type SFDX or SF and just type a command, okay, SFDX or SF, both are okay. You can just follow both conventions, that is okay, and just type SFDX command. So basically this command, this particular command will give you the list of commands which is available under the SFDX. If you see, this is the output. So this is the complete list of SFDX commands are available that particularly you can use for your development process. So I'm going to talk about some of the important commands that particularly you can use for your kickstart your Salesforce development process. Okay, so for example, if you are going to work related to the Apex, okay, so there are Apex related commands are there. If you see here, like if you want to generate Apex class, if you want to generate Apex trigger, log, test classes are there, right? You want to see the logs, you want to run the anonymous code, right? Anonymous Apex code, run the test. Okay, these are the Apex related commands. Okay, for your Apex process. If you want to particularly authentication related commands, let's say for example with your local system with VS Code, like if you want to connect with your Salesforce environment and VS Code with your local environment, right? So authentication you have to perform, like that is called as authorization basically. So you can particularly use this authentication commands for that purpose. Okay, then custom metadata related commands are there. Okay, so if you want to work with the custom metadata records, custom metadata types, so you are the that command specifically. Okay, also like a community related commands, like if you want to create a community or publish the communities are there, so these are there. Okay, then configuration, then importantly a data related command. So I'm going to highlight the one by one what are the different commands are there. Data related commands, right? If you want to build up, if you want to, let's say, fire the query from your we can say local environment, right, with the help of SFDX, so you can also use this one. So there are multiple data related commands also are there, like upsert, like DML operations you can perform, query operation, SQL, right? So these are there. So this is nothing but a data related commands. Then deployment related commands are there. Now particularly you need to particularly deploy your changes from local system to the your environment, right? So particularly you can do this deploy related command. Okay, so there are multiple commands, cancel, click are there. Then environment related commands are there, right? Particularly log, and there is a legacy commands is also available. Okay, so previously before update of the SF style command, there are the force commands, or we can say most widely used commands are there, right? So these are going to be used now. There will be no any changes. You can also use this force commands as well. Okay, these are the force related commands. So if you see here, generate commands are there. Okay, org related commands. So see, there are lots of commands are available. I just enter this command, SFDX command. They are given the lots of. So these are the, we can say, uh, commands that you can particularly use for your development purpose. Okay, I will give you the idea of as well. Now let's say for example, how you can take the help of commands. My main approach in the today's session is to give you the brief idea about how the SFDX commands works. Okay, particular. This is the today's session agenda. Okay. Now let's jump to the process how you can particularly use the and here take a help from the SFDX command. Now let's say for example, as a developer you want to execute the any SFDX command, so you need to first understand the syntax and process. Okay, so let's say for example, I already talked about you that we have Apex related commands are there. So you can just type SFDX Apex, okay, and just type hyphen hyphen, that is called as minus minus help. Okay, and just click enter. So it will give you what are the different topics available under the Apex. Okay, under the Apex. So Apex is like a main topic, and these are the, we can say, subtopics. Under these subtopics, there are multiple commands are available. Okay, so I will just give you the idea. Let me just open the Word document. So I will just give you the idea how it works. Okay, I will just give you the idea. So SFDX is a we can say command reference. Okay, then particularly your topic. I can say the main topic you have to enter. Then you need to enter a subtopic. Okay, particularly, and then under the subtopic, particularly, you have to be specify your command. Okay, and we can say the values. So this is the reference are there. I will just give you the idea. Okay, so now under the generate, if you see, this is the main topic, Apex topic, and under this generate is a subtopic. Okay, and under this, what are the commands are available? So this is the subtopics which helps you to create Apex class or trigger. So now let me just give you the idea. Type SFDX, or you can just use SF as well. Apex. Okay, you can use a colon as well, or you can just use a generate as well. That is also fine. Generate. Okay, and hyphen hyphen help. Just use help. Okay, and just click enter. It will give you the idea what are the different commands are available under the generate topic, generate topic. So class command are there and trigger command are there. So these commands are used to generate Apex class and generate Apex trigger. Okay, and now particularly if you want to see like how the class commands works, you need to see how I can, as a developer, how I can execute my command. So you can just type again SFDX. Apex is a main topic. Okay, then generate is a subtopic. Class is a command, and then I can hyphen hyphen help. This particular will give you the complete detail how you can particularly execute your command with examples. Okay, this is the particularly complete description basically. Okay, what I did that SFDX, right? Then I use the Apex. Apex is a, we can say, main topic. Then I have used the generate as a subtopic. Then I use the class is a command. Okay, so basically SFDX is a command reference. Either you can use SFs as well. Then Apex is the particularly a topic. We can say, I can say the main topic are there. Then particularly a generate. So generate is a subtopic under the main topic, and then class is a command. So this is the complete idea about and how particularly use the SFDX command. So in the command reference, either you can use SFDX style or SF style, that is both are applicable. So this is how particularly you can take, and then let's say for example you want to aware about how particularly execute. So see, this is the uses how particularly you can use. Okay, these are the flags. These are the, we can say, parameters you can pass to create Apex class, right? So this command, class command, will help Salesforce developers to generate or create Apex class. But obviously you need to create, you need to give the Apex class name and all those things. So these are the flags are available. Flags is nothing but a parameters you need to pass to this command. So based on this parameter, this particular command will create the Apex class for you with the help of SFDX. It is giving a description as well. Means you don't need to go anywhere. This particular command itself will give you the brief idea about how you can particularly execute it. The same thing, even examples is also given here. Okay, these are the multiple examples, like how you can particularly, this is the example. You can also copy this example and you can try to execute for your practice purpose. Also, in the documentation as well, if you go to the documentation, right? See, this is the Apex commands are just go to this document. See, this is the generate class, and also the same example is given here. Users, flags are there. Same thing particularly is available. So either you can particularly refer the official, we can say CLI command reference documentation, and you can use this. So basically, this will be a kind of more user-friendly work for the developers. Okay, you can take help from this one. So now let's say, for example, I want to particularly create Apex class, right? So I'm just giving a CLI commands basically to give you the idea. So there are multiple commands are available. Okay, I just given the idea. Let me just go back. Apex trigger, log are there, list log, Apex runs. Okay, run test, try log, right? Even also particularly you can create a user. There are multiple commands, right? Metadata, community, config commands, data commands are there, right? Multiple commands particularly are available. Also, like particularly you can execute this command. So let me just give you the idea about that. So you can particularly execute the command. So let me just jump to the VS Code basically. I have already created the one SFDX project to give you the idea about that. Okay, so you can execute this particular command as well in the VS Code terminal. Okay, so now let's say for example I want to create Apex class under this my project, right? This is my project, SFDX project. So under these projects I want to create Apex class. So how you can particularly use SFDX? Just take the help from the this one. Okay. So this is one. See, this is the example also they have given. If you see the flags, either you can use a short flags or either you can particularly use a long flags. Both are there. If you mention -d or minus output minus directory, so you need to particularly directory for saving the created files. Means your Apex class will be created under that directory. Then name, Apex class name, whatever the name you want to give for your Apex class, so either you can use -n. Then particularly -t, template version, API version if you want to pass particularly. Okay, you can also see the example here. Okay, these are the, we can say, example that particularly you can follow. Okay, so now let me just use SFDX or assets, both are fine. Okay, SFDX, then Apex, then generate. Generate is my subtopic. Then class is a command. Okay, then you can use a flags -- name. Either you can use a short flags or either you can use a full flags. Both are there. Then equal to your value Apex class. So let's say for example my Apex class. Then also you need to view a output directory where you are going to store your class file, right? So my output directory is under the force. Let me, you can just particularly go here and particularly copy, and you can also, 1 second, let me just copy path. You can just particularly path a copy. You can just follow the same convention, output dir output dash directory equals to, okay, and under this one you need to pass the classes. Okay, so CLA here, this is my path. Okay, and now just click either, so particularly you are already here, so you can just use, so if you don't want to use the this one, right, so you can particularly use, let's say for example force, I'm just use a force tab. Okay, under this one particularly you can particularly use classes. So it is not, so this is a main folder available, then you have the default folder. Under this default folder you have classes. Okay, just this is the output directory, and just click enter. This command will create a apex class for you. See this one, it is executed. It is executed, and see this one, this is a class and meta file is created, right? So this is about the command you can create it. If you want to create apex trigger, right, so just particularly change the command, generate trigger. Okay, so if you go to the this one, right, SFDX, let me take a help, because help will, and this particular help will give you the idea how you can particularly execute. Okay, so apex, same topic, apex, then you have the particularly the generate topic are there, then you have a trigger, then I have help center. So this is the brief idea about that as well. Okay, so if you see, and if you go to the flag, okay, particularly, let me just go to the flags. Okay, so these are the flags. So let's say for example, if you want to create a trigger for the specific object, you can particularly pass the trigger object name as well, your S object name. Okay, so you have to see what are the different default parameter, what are the optional parameter, what are the required parameter. So let's say for example, I want to create a trigger hyphen name. Let's say for example, my we can say account trigger. This is my trigger name. Okay, now I want to give the particularly S object. Okay, so S object are there, S object value, so I can pass account as S object value, and then let me execute this command. Yeah, see this one, my command was got executed, and see this one, trigger is created. See this one, my account trigger on account object, and the context variable is also used. So this is about the particularly the metadata you can particularly create. Okay, so similar, like there are you can create other metadata as well, lightning components, lightning web components, objects as well. So there are multiple like metadata references are there that you can particularly use. So this is the particularly the advantage of the uh, SFDX CLI commands. Right? So this is I'm given, right? So I have given the demo like how you can working with the metadata. You can create a metadata basically, and you can also run the test classes as well. Okay, basically. So now let me just go you and show you the demo about working with the Salesforce data as well. You can particularly use the Salesforce data. So we have a data topic as well available, right? Let me show you the idea. SFDX, we have the, let me just open another window, SF commands. See, I'm using SFs or SFDX. Okay, both are okay. So it is not mandatory. You can use SFDX or SF. You can use. So in the demo, I'm using both actually. Okay, SF, just use the SF commands. So see, this is given the all command list. Now let me just go to the data commands. Okay, let me just go to the top. If you see, the data related commands are there. Okay. So if you want to work with the Salesforce data, let's say for example, if you want to execute a SQL query, right? So you can particularly execute SQL query as well. How you can take the benefit of this particular data commands? So you can just type SFDX or SF data under the data commands. You can also take what are the different things are available under data commands. You can just type data -help. It will give, these are the create, delete, export, get, import, query, okay, update, upsert. These are the subtopics. Okay, under these subtopics I want query. Okay, so SFDX data query, okay, and -help. This will give you the idea about how these particular commands you can execute. Okay, these are the given the example. If you see, this is the example are there. Now, particularly, so let me just show you the same command under this as well. Let me clear out the screen. SFDX, okay, I want to fire query command. Okay, and so you have to mention -query as a flag. Okay, and then you can write down your query. So select ID, common name from account. I'm just giving this basic command, a basic query as well. And now let me just execute it. You see this one, this is querying record. Now if you see the result in front of you, I have queried ID and name. So total 13 records are available under my org. So basically I have already authorized my org with VS Code with my local system. So if you see, I have already queried here. Okay, particularly. So from where these records are coming, so I have already authorized my org actually, my normal non-scratch or day org. Okay, so I already authorized, that's why. So if you want to see, let's say for example, what are the different orgs are connected with your local system, so you can also follow SF:org org list. Okay, so SF org list, this is the command are available. This command will give you the list of we can say the connected org with your local system, right? So see this one, this is my org is already connected. I have used the web or login authentication flow to connect my local system with my environment. Okay, so from this org actually these records are coming. So under this org there are 13 records are available. So basically you can query the data as well. If you want to export so let me now just go to the this one, export data, import data, export data from your org, right? You want to export it. So let me just show you that SFDX data export -help. Data export tree. Okay. So basically this is the commands that particularly you can use to data from org into the one or more JSON files. Okay. So you can particularly in the form of JSON file, it will give you the particularly records on it. So this is about a particularly you can work with the Salesforce data with the CLI commands. Okay. So this is about the main important thing is that. Okay. So this is the CLI commands are executed. Now main important thing is that Salesforce CLI is there. Salesforce CLI extension pack is available under the VS Code, right? So my main motto and main agenda is to give you the idea how to execute the SFDX command. Now we are more familiar with the command palette window. If you see, I can just type Ctrl+Shift+P. You can just type SFDX, right? It will give you the list of commands which is under available in SFDX. Because under in VS Code itself, because VS Code is now a more popular code editor, right? So in the VS Code, if you want to work with your Salesforce org, so there are Salesforce extension pack which is compatible with SFDX, right? You like most of that are aware about that. We have the extension packs are available, right? For Salesforce extension pack. Under that extension, it is compatible with the SFDX, right? And it in the in the VS Code itself, you have the very full functionality of command prompt. With the help of command prompt, you can directly execute your commands. Means you don't also look into the commands. You don't need to also type a commands, right? But my main agenda is to aware about how you can particularly execute your commands. Right, I can directly Control Shift P. I can just use SFDX create Apex class, right, or whatever. Create project, Lightning Web component, Scratch are there, Apex trigger, Aura component, everything are there. I can particularly do it. Even Visual Force page as well. Also, I can fire the query as well. Create a query in SQL Builder, right? All things are there. I can just type, click enter. I can provide my class. Okay, I can provide the default directory will automatically populate, enter, my class will create. Even though you don't need to type a command. But my main agenda is motto is that to aware about the everything about SFDX. Okay. So particularly you can take the benefits of the CLI with VS Code. That is it, right? That's why like the development is more faster, right? In nowadays, basically with the help of VS Code editor and the CLI with VS Code. So you can take the benefits of this one. Okay. So if either if sometimes your command palette are not working, I'm just giving an example. If command prompt window are not working, so you can manually execute your queries. Okay. You can set a default or you can retrieve the data as well. Okay. If you I want to retrieve any particularly metadata as well, you can also retrieve that as well. Okay. That is are also available basically. So this is about a particularly CLI with VS Code. Okay. So this is about this one. So I'm done for the today's session. Okay. Just an update for you all is that this particular today's session is completely dedicated for the kickstart your Salesforce development process with the SFDX CLI command. There are lots of things are available, like you can build automation, you can build your development process, you can integrate CI/CD, you can build a DevOps strategy. There are lots of things available under the SFDX for the source-driven development as well. So definitely I will come up with the more sessions, more interactive sessions as well, or more live sessions as well under this topic. So this a particular topic, this just a particularly kickstart your journey with the SFDX. I have just given about the idea about how the SFDX commands are executed. Okay. So stay tuned for the upcoming sessions. I'm going to share some of the detailed concept about the source-driven development, Scratch-based development, CI/CD integrations are there. So we are going to talk about in the upcoming sessions as well. So this is about the today's session. Let's jump to the presentation slides. Okay. So I would like to thank Apex Hours for having me for this session. Thank you, Apex Hour and Amish sir, for giving me the opportunity to present my knowledge and sharing my experiences across with community members. So you can follow Apex Hours on the official websites as well. You can follow on LinkedIn as well as you can check out a YouTube channel as well. You can follow Apex Hours. Okay, we will come with the new more session on these topics. Okay, yeah. Thanks everyone. Thanks for the watching. We'll meet soon.